Howdy.
Hi there.
So we're getting ready for a trip. Well,
You are.
but we're getting ready.
Right.
So it's about 8:15 at night. We are rolling up some glow-in-the-dark concrete business cards. So if you ever wondered how I travel with these things, this is how it's done. But it's story time.
It's story time.
So story time. We got 3 stories for the price of 1. Right?
Yeah, but we're not charging.
We're not charging.
So-
Well, we're not charging, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
3 stories.
3 for 1.
3 for 1. And all 3 of these stories have something in common. What do they have in common, my love?
We had flooding incidents in the lab, right?
Flooding incidents in the lab. I think the first story where there was a flooding incident in the lab was...
Didn't we have that happen at your folks when we first got that very first tank? And it was... Oh, I thought we did. Maybe not.
So when you get some of these tanks, the unfortunate thing is a lot of these tanks, they might have holes in them. So we had just moved here. Whitney was pregnant with Jessany.
Yep.
7 months pregnant?
8.
8 months pregnant.
Yep.
Literally had just moved in. I had to go pick up my buddy from the airport.
Dude, I was so pissed. His friend, God bless him.
Mark
love him,
Sanchez.
was like,
My
hey,
roommate in
called
college.
like 2 days before we were moving. And I was in school too. I was like in the midst of finals while we were moving. Was like, hey, I'm coming into Denver. Can you come pick me up on April 24th? John's like, oh yeah, no problem. I was
It's
like,
Mark.
right. I'm like, yeah, we're moving to the middle of nowhere that day. You're
You're
going to leave
not
your
leaving.
8-month pregnant wife and your 2-year-old son to go schlep an hour and a half into Denver to pick up your friend. Anyways, tangent. I was not happy.
I love you. We made it.
Yeah, and you're a lucky man.
So
Deal
I
with your
pick
shenanigans.
Mark up and his girlfriend Belinda
Right?
from the airport. We come back here, Denver. Come back here, and Mark actually helped set up the lab, which was originally in the garage.
Yep.
So Mark was gracious enough.
Right.
He did a great job.
He did. He was helpful.
So one of the things that you have to do is fill up the tank. Now normally, when I fill up these tanks, I fill them up 3 inches at a time to allow
make
pressure,
sure, right.
see if it leaks, and it's a lot easier to empty 3 or 6 or 9 inches than the whole, 24.
We had active samples then, though. I think that was why you filled it all the way up.
So this was a tank that I had taken from our old lab, so
Right.
it had been traveling in the back of like a Ranger truck,
Yeah.
bumping around dirt roads. So it was the last day Mark and Belinda were there, and I filled up all the tanks, or I filled up the tank all the way up, in the whole lab. I mean, tarps on the floors.
Just totally set up.
The tables were set up, the chemical storage, the flammable locker, everything, rocks, buckets, cement. Mark and Belinda, they actually rented a car. I didn't pick them up.
Oh, that's right. They
That's
did.
right. So I didn't
They
go.
asked
See,
you to
Whitney,
pick them up.
See, I did not go and pick them up. I
And
stayed
then-
with my wife, so I did good.
I think I probably just came unglued enough that you were like, dude, you got to rent a car. And I feel like that's warranted.
Yeah, totally.
Totally
You were
was right.
pregnant. So anyway, they leave for the airport. We say goodbye late at night.
Right.
Wake up the next morning, and the entire tank, 90 gallons,
Yep.
all over I had to take
Yep.
all the tarps off. I had to move all the tables. I had to take out all the,
Dry it all up.
dry it all up, and then put everything back.
Yep.
And then some of it went behind sheetrock, so I had to rip sheetrock out.
We had to go get a new tank, didn't we?
You had to go get a new tank.
Luckily, there's a Big R about 15 minutes away. And the first tank we spent, I think it was like a $300 tank. We're out in New Jersey. And then the freight on it was like $500 or $600. It was asinine. So, we call it Big R, and they literally have the same tank for like $80.
Yeah.
And it's like 15-minute drive, so we go and pick it up.
Go and pick it up.
Because I was like getting stressed out. I'm like, we don't have $1,000. We just moved. And it was $80. God bless them, $80.
Gosh. Yeah.
So
that was story number one
was
with
fun.
flooding.
Yep.
Story number two. What was story number two?
We had just gotten into so we live out in the country, and there was this really super cute red barn in the middle of the pasture, and our goal was to be able to like gut that and turn it into a concrete lab. So
Right.
it doesn't look like a lab from the outside, but you go inside and it's actually like a CCRL certified lab and everything. So we go through all
Bronco
the renovations,
colors
Bronco colors.
everywhere. Blue floors,
Yeah.
orange walls. Oh, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
So
It's a little loud, but it's
a
fun.
little intense.
Anyway, so we saved up money to build it, and because we just wanted to be able to pay it off, and we saved for I think a year and a half, and then finally got the money, and so we started building and get everything squared away, and it took 6-8 months to be able to do it all and get in there.
Right.
And we have this huge snowstorm. Like
Oh,
we're
dude,
like 2 or 3 weeks
I
in the
forgot
lab.
about this. I totally forgot
Yeah.
about the story.
Yeah.
How did I forget about this?
And John goes,
Wait
I
a
was
second.
up.
I'm sorry. I have to interject. The first 3 months we were living there, we couldn't afford somebody to clean out the barn.
Right.
So I had to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning till about 7 o'clock in the morning, maybe
Yeah.
8, clean out all the horse shit because there was 4 to 8 inches of uncompacted horse shit.
Right.
Then there was another 8 inches of compacted horse shit that I had to rip out.
Yep.
And I had buckets,
Yep.
5-gallon buckets, 3 of them on each side that I would fill up and
Right.
run to the back of the pasture and dump in this huge pile. So 4,000 pounds, 3,000
Yeah.
pounds horse shit.
Yeah.
And then the bird shit up top, that was about
Yeah.
200 pounds. And then there was steel columns, wooden columns.
Just a lot of junk in there.
So we had to spend like the first 3 months
Yeah.
emptying that out.
Yeah. And you did. I was pregnant, and then it just said
And
Jess, so it was all John.
And then contractors in and out,
Yep.
you know, trying to resurrect this barn that was kind of
Yeah.
like this.
Needed a lot of love.
lot of love. So, oh, I forgot. So,
So
finally,
we go through all of this, and we've
And
been
the
in the house
design.
for I think a year and a half. Yeah, it was a year and a half. So, and designing it and all that. So we finally get in there, and literally it'd been like 2 or 3 weeks, and we have this horrible snowstorm.
but we got everything set up in the
Right.
upstairs. The office is set up. The
Yep.
lab, everything is set up. It's
Yep.
looking. I mean, excuse my language. It looks
Yep.
beautiful.
Yep.
Beautiful.
And
Huge snowstorm.
Huge snowstorm, and the
Huge.
nanny couldn't even make it in because the weather was so bad. So John just went down to work by himself that day, and he calls me on the phone. He was like, "It's raining in your office." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He was like, "It's literally raining in your office. Like I have buckets all around the lab because there's just water like pouring in."
When they did construction on the lab, they forgot to install the soffits. So all the snow got blown up in.
Right. Because we get like just crazy. I mean, I think had 50, 60 mile an hour winds with that. Like it was really intense.
I forgot all
Yep.
about that, and I remember the guy who did the work on the on the barn. The head contractor was a friend of the family. I mean, it's Richard. It's Uncle Richard.
Right.
It's family.
Right.
And I remember, you know, he's a very relaxed man. He's been through a lot.
Yeah.
And I called him. I'm like, Richard,
It's raining in the lab.
it was raining in Whitney's office and in the lab.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, just relax, mate. It's gonna be okay." And you better get somebody over here. Tell me to relax. This is my livelihood. We ended up getting fixed.
Yeah, it was
I
fixed.
mean, he's
It was
right.
fine.
Just relax. It'll
Yeah.
all get taken care of. These things happen.
Yep.
There's a fourth story. So that was story number 2.
Yeah.
Story number 3